Good. We'll get started. Amber, welcome back. All right, so let me add these. So we had really, I don't know how many of you have seen the last couple of calls, but we've had some great guest speakers and some really good input. And I'm pretty, excited about getting more and more people to come in and share with us that have something to share. And so I don't know about you, but on the call from the last call, which was the Don Yoakum sharing with us about professional networking, I was pretty excited about that. I took a ton of notes. I think there's a lot each of us can do to kind of increase our business, just using a couple of those ideas. He had a ton of them, but if you just maybe put one or two of them into effect. But in the last couple of weeks, I'm trying to think what would have been the last call that we did. It would have been the second Friday of March. Does anybody remember the date? Let me see, I can pull up the date really quick. The second Friday of March was
March 11th.
March.
18th, wasn't it?
March 11th is the second Friday.
Oh yeah, it was the third we were looking for. So the 18th was the
3/18.
last call, right? So yeah, on the 18th, I remember I was parked in my RV in Newport Beach at an RV park. And I remember thinking to myself that after this many years in real estate, why hadn't I done all of these things that I knew to do at many stages in my career? So why did I ask that? It's because everybody on here, no matter how new or how experienced in real estate, knows you already know so many things that you could do to get more listings than you have now. You already do, and you are not doing those things. And when I say you, I mean me, right? I don't mean like, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm saying all of us together. And the 18th was the middle of the 2-week tour my wife and I were taking speaking. And we'd been to so many places, right? We'd been to Santa Maria, we'd been to Redlands, we'd been to Rancho Cucamonga, Anaheim, Torrance, Newport Beach. Then we went on to Las Vegas and taught a couple of classes there. And what we were teaching mostly was communication mastery. And we are probably going to do that on this call at some point. We're just trying to figure out the logistics of it because it is going to require that we do, that we have a flip chart or something rather than using, and we probably can figure out a way to do that. And then we would record it, because not patting me on the back, certainly, but my wife who designed the class, we got lots and lots and lots of kudos and great feedback about the class. But in Vegas, we had 2 days. So on one day we did the communications mastery, and on the second day we did how to take more listings in a low inventory market. And this has been obviously a hot subject. And while we've talked about stuff like this before, there's so many things that we could be doing differently right now. Now, my wife hasn't been selling real estate for 14 years, right? She last sold real estate at the end of 2008. So about 13 and a half years. But she has like an outsider's perspective on selling real estate and this whole idea of low inventory. So let me tell me what she says, and you tell me if it's funny or not, because I laughed at it when I heard it. But she said, why do people keep talking about there being low inventory? Did someone burn down a lot of houses? Nothing.
I like it. I'm not.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point.
Right. So
Some of us have heard it before. So
yeah. Bruce, that's cheating.
Hey.
So why does she say that? Because it's been proven statistically in real estate, just like in the law field, like attorneys, that people don't call their attorneys unless they need an attorney. Okay. They don't, nor do they necessarily know what's quote unquote going on in the law business. And it's the same for consumers. 25 to 35% of all consumers, meaning in this case, homeowners, may not know that their home has skyrocketed in value. Okay. And the only way they would know is if you stopped and had a conversation with them or you called them. And even we had a guy on here named Cleve Gaddis. He was on here recently with Tammy Slay when I had to miss a call. Oh, no, they were on something else I did, not this one, but Cleve Gaddis, a big top coach with Workman Success Systems. And he has a really cool perspective on everything. But I remember him saying that the river of real estate is flowing. And he used that term. Everybody seemed to love that term. And he really created sort of a rush on the call about, and that it's going to flow whether or not we get in the river of real estate with it, meaning it's moving and it's moving fast. But he also commented on one very important thing, that we are responsible for allowing the billion-dollar companies, the Zillows, the Redfins, the Realtor.coms, to get into our clients' homes, because we're not keeping that from happening by being in regular contact with them. In other words, what reason would they have to go searching online if they were in constant contact with you, such that when they thought of real estate, they thought of you? In other words, that would be the first instinct, is when they think of real estate. And that's a tough battle to win. That's what we call TOMA. Write those letters down. TOMA, TOMA, top of mind awareness. And how does that happen, right? How does it happen that when you tell somebody to name a cola, okay, the first thing out of their mouth is all 99.9% of the time going to be Coke or Pepsi. And then the second thing out of their mouth, if you say name another one, will be the other. That's called top of mind awareness, right? Name a toothpaste. Somebody's going to say Crest, somebody's going to say Colgate. All right. Now, if you go look in a grocery store today at the number of toothpaste on the counter and compare it to the number of toothpaste on the counter back in, the 1960s, there was 3 on the counters in the 60s probably, and now there's 30 or 40 that's on the. Why? Because the internet or online has allowed us to allow other people to find out something that you're making great, right? That's why Etsy's so popular. That's why eBay's so popular. All of these different things. What's my point? My point comes down to conversations with more people. That's not going to end the class. In other words, I could go, well, that's it, mic drop, and bye-bye. We ended the class in 15 minutes today. Have a nice weekend. It's not that easy. My point is that if we're having more purposeful conversations, in other words, I've told you all easily 100 times to call every single person in your phone. Just start calling from the A's to the Z's, start backwards, start in the middle and go up, start in the middle, go down. I don't care. But what if when you did that, you specifically started picking up, hold on one sec. Yeah. So what if you specifically started, like when you went through the list, you called the ones that you already knew owned a home, whether you sold them the home or not? Like if I look at someone like Crystal, who I've gotten to know recently, she probably knows a ton of people that own homes that she never sold it to them because she was in real estate then, right? When Gina, my assistant, and I look at my list and Shauna of my database, we see so many people who've owned homes long before I was in real estate, 45 years, 50 years, they've owned the home. We can still send them a happy house anniversary card because we can research on record when they closed escrow on their home. In other words, there's, the actual trend in real estate with the Workman Success Systems, the company I'm coaching, they'll bring on a new coaching client that's selling 600. They just did that, selling 600 homes a year, has a team. Okay. And they want some more coaching on how to build from there, how to be more operationally excellent. So there's a lot that goes into that. I've coached these types of teams, and that's why people sign 1, 2, or 3 year contracts, because the things that need to happen to make the team operationally excellent aren't going to happen overnight. Right. why am I bringing this up? One of the things that we always add to their production increase immediately is something called top 50 that I've shared with you multiple times. Top 50. In fact, a lot of you are getting shared. If your name is on, if you have an email that you receive the letter every week for the free Friday coaching calls, then you're receiving it down at the bottom of the email. There's all these links to different ideas that Workman Success Systems allowed us to give out for free to anybody. And one of them is about top 50 and the top 50 initiative. And I definitely, the top 50 booklet is probably one of the best reading things you can do right now. Because guess what today is besides April Fool's Day?
Quarter number 2.
Yes, thank you, Bruce. It's the beginning of quarter number 2. And as humans, all of us are humans. I checked. Everyone on here is a human being. What do? We're always looking for an excuse to start over. Well, guess what? Q2, beginning Q2, good excuse to start over. My dad's birthday, big joke to my grandma. Very good, Crystal. But and I talk about this on July 1st. What's July 1st, Bruce?
Third quarter.
Right. But it's also the middle of the year. Second half of the year is beginning. So there's all these things, but you could say, tomorrow's Saturday, I'm going to start all over again. Right? There's anything we can say, but this is really a great time if you want to solidify that you'll have your best year ever. It doesn't matter if Q1 was your worst Q1 ever, you can still have your best year ever if you start now and say, how will things be different? And they can be very different if you become more focused on listing. So let's just say, for the sake of everyone on here, including me and my team, my buyer team, there's a couple of them on here, that you will, I'm not condemning the act of showing buyer's property at all. In fact, it is a vital part and it is the bread and butter of real estate sales. But if I'm going to be a bigger listing agent, the National Association of Realtors says for every 3 hours I spend with a seller, I spend 9 hours with a buyer. A fact. It's a statistical fact. What am I going to do? Well, I can tell you this. I very rarely pass out a buyer lead that's not at a 50-50 split, meaning I'll give you my buyer lead. You give me 50% of it. What? I'll give you 25%. Okay, well, you don't have to take my buyer lead. And I'm not talking about my team. I'm talking about people outside of my team, areas that I don't. So why wouldn't you? And I've had agents call me and say, hey, Rick, I tried that. No one will take my referral for 50%. I go, how many people did you talk to? 2. I go, give me your marketplace. I'll get you 5 people in a second that will take your lead for 50% referral fee. I'm not saying that to take away value. There are certain agents that won't. Shauna, my business partner, and I just picked up a huge account, a referral account. I might have shared this with you because it was going to be working with people in advanced ages like mine, like in 50s, 60s, 70 years old, who have lots of properties, to list their properties to do a 1031 exchange. And they're doing these big dinners at nice restaurants, and then we get to come and speak. And I said, oh my God, I feel so fortunate. We're literally working with like 13 potential listings right now that would total well over 20 million just from going to a couple of these. And I said, how did I get so lucky? And they said, well, we had another agent and he wouldn't sign the referral fee agreement. And I said, well, the referral fee was only 25%. She goes, yeah, but our referral fee agreement says for the life of the time that you know this person. And I said, okay, I'm still not, I'm missing something. What's the problem with the other agent? Why does the other agent want to sign? And he goes, no, he said he would not. He refused to sign a referral fee agreement that went past 1 year. I go, this is what I said to the lady. I said, well, these people have been acquiring their properties for years, probably some of them for 30, 40, 50 years. She goes, exactly. And I said, they're not going to all sell them in a year. Probably some of them will think about it for a year. And she goes, exactly. She goes, that's why we want the referral fee agreement signed forever. We're bringing these people to you, whether they sell now or 5 years from now, you're going to owe us 25%. I'm like, where do I sign? And then she goes, oh, Shauna, your partner needs to sign one too. I go, great, here's Sana's, like, how would we say no to that? So you're all going to determine your own value and where you'll place your value and where you won't, not up to me. But I'm saying that if somebody else is doing the act, you acquired the lead and you stayed in relationship with the lead and you handed it off to somebody for 50%. Now, let's say I handed it off to somebody where they're in the same areas that I work and they got such a great relationship that they ended up on that other agent's database. Can they still be on my database? Yes. Because guess who wins the battle to get that same client's next transaction? The person who keeps in touch with them the most. I can't count the number of times in my career where the person who bought one of my listings with another real estate agent, meaning they were represented by another real estate agent, called me to list it. Because I would drop by and say hi once in a while. I wasn't their agent. I'd just say, hey, I was the listing agent just checking how's things. Right? How many times do all of you're running an errand to pick up some milk? You're running an errand to pick up some milk, or that's not as popular these days. You're running some errands to pick up some flaxseed milk. Okay, so, and on the way to get the flaxseed milk and on the way back, do you not pass at least one home where you represented one side or the other? Just think about it. It doesn't have to be a yes, but I bet often when you're running an errand or going somewhere personal, not business, that you pass a home or pass the neighborhood of a home where you represented either a buyer or seller. Why not pull over? Keep the car running, run up to the front door, knock on the door, and just say, hey, I was in the area, thought of you. How are you? How's the house since you bought it? Who the hell are you? I'm the listing agent that represented the seller when you bought this house. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm sorry. You're Rick, right? Yes. Start a conversation. Now, what do? You write that down. You go back home. After you get a minute, you write them a handwritten note. Hey, thanks for answering the door when I dropped by the other day. The house looks great from the outside. Thanks for chatting with me for a few minutes. Let's stay in touch. If you need anything, let me know. Right? This happens all the time for all of us. Now, I haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet. So, okay, let's see. Cheryl says, I send cards to friends and family and past clients. People love to get mail. That's not a bill. Yes. And since you brought that up, Cheryl, where is Cheryl? Cheryl, can you wave at me? Maybe you're on page 2. Where are you, Cheryl? Are you a picture or are you oh, there you are, Cheryl. Okay, Cheryl, what's your last name?
Mobley.
Oh, hi, Cheryl Mobley. Gosh, I'm sorry. You had those hat and glasses on. It's like, didn't recognize you. Is that a Southwest hat?
No, it's Life is Good.
Oh, nice. I like a Life is Good hat. So Cheryl makes a really good point. Do you know that the average amount of mail in a person's mailbox is down 60% from 15 years ago? But didn't people, you think about it, when you go get the mail, don't you look for something good besides the junk mail? Don't you go like, is there a note card here? I love that still. That's why note cards are so important, right? So, but why I say that is even mailing stuff to people is better. But when you get a handwritten note, when you think about running into somebody, it's so easy if you run into somebody to not lie and call. Have you ever run into somebody and you felt embarrassed that you forgot their name and you called them, hey, buddy, right? Or hey, sport, pal, right? But what if you just said, dude, so good to see you. And I'm sorry, your name's completely blank in my head.
Be honest, right?
Yeah. Now, here's what happens. You write it down. Can you go research their last name in your tax roll and find out the house they own? Yes, you can. Right? I had a recruiting appointment with a guy that I barely know, but I wanted to talk to him about the Rick Jihad team, right? And he kept putting me off. And I'd heard good things, and he's my age, he's 64. And he was talking about slowing down, but he's not sure he's ready to retire yet. And I love people like that on my team because they know people and they bring in business and, that kind of thing. And then sometimes they say, I don't want to do the business. So they hand the business and we can share it. All kinds of ways to create more value when you surround yourself with people like that. So he said, finally he had said, yeah, we'll talk on Friday. And I kept saying, what time on Friday? I'll book it and send you a calendar invite. And he didn't respond. And finally, when it came to about an hour before we had originally planned on 5, but he said it wasn't going to work. When we came to that time, he said, hey, Rick, I've got surgery on Friday. Let's reconnect on Monday. Okay. Now, all this time we had talked about Friday, he had never said anything about surgery. So I went into the tax roll and looked up his last name, found his house, sent fruit and chocolates to his house. Don't know the guy. This is all phone. But what's $100 if I want to get him on my team? Now think about that in the relation of a client, right? And maybe this guy ends up being a client in the future, or maybe this guy ends up referring me business in the future. Who knows? But he's going to get chocolates and fruit today. Okay. And it's going to be delivered to his home, which most people, no matter what kind of surgery, whether it can't be that big of surgery, if he said, I'll talk to you Monday, but he's going to know that his conversation with me was important. All right. So we can do all kinds of those things without spending money other than on note cards. I've got a whole, my wife said, what's this whole briefcase? I said, that's all note cards. She goes, we're carrying around a freaking briefcase with note cards. I go, well, she goes, why don't you just have everywhere we always stop? Just put note cards there and then they'll always be there when you get there. I'm like, okay, good idea. So the main thing is that we can do so much more than we're doing. And you know what you're thinking and I'm thinking, all of us are thinking this right now. Where will I find the time? I am so busy. So you're right. But this is about making the time to make a difference in your business and your life. Your life will be changed dramatically, you know, and be, oh, it's not about the money. Of course not. It's about what you can do with the money. So I was talking to my friend Sherry from Tennessee recently, and she said, we're doing, hi, Sherry. And I think Gary's in a truck somewhere, isn't he? I saw him somewhere on, oh, there he is, nodding his head. So she said, I'm changing my goals. We're going to sell 6 houses a month, and we're going to develop a foundation, and we're going to create some nonprofit, and we're going to do some different things with that. I was so inspired that she came to our call saying that, right? And she had it all laid out in her head. That's all it takes. Took a little planning, how it was going to look and what were they going to do. How's your plan going, Sunshine?
It's going pretty well. So I do a couple of things. One, I probably sent out 30 note cards this last week. I sat Wednesday and wrote cards for the first half of the day. And that part's going good. I've been doing what I call hunting. I drive around neighborhoods and I literally stopped with a lady and chatted with her, and we're going to go talk to her about listing her house. So
Wow.
Getting to know the neighbors and the area.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. And how is Gary out showing or?
No, we had quite a few storms come through here, and so
Oh.
he's out getting some rocks so we can get to some of our equipment. So
Oh, okay.
it was a little dicey around here this week.
Yeah, I've heard some crap happening on that side of the country. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that, Sherry, and thanks for always being on here with a smile. So I do want to share one thing with you, and Bruce heard this before, but a lot of people didn't. Maybe, yeah, my team has heard it, but I want to, and no, I didn't tell you guys at all because I want to brag on my assistant, Gina, who's also a licensed and successful real estate agent. But I bragged on her in Las Vegas because we were on a call with a friend of Honora's named Melody Russell in Santa Cruz, California. And it was in March, and we were talking about this low inventory listing, and it was the first time Casey said that thing on the phone where she said, did somebody burn down a bunch of houses? And she was telling us how she had heard a script from somebody else about asking, from her financial planner. Her financial planner sent her 4 listing referrals in a month. Okay, and she listed 3 of them in the same month and 1 a couple of months later. And she said, how are you getting so many, how are you getting me so many listing referrals? And he said, this is the financial planner. And Bruce, I didn't know this when we talked about it in Vegas. I didn't know where she had gotten it. But we talked to her again the day before yesterday, and she told us where she got it. And he said, oh, I just asked them if they're in their forever home. Now, I want you all to think about this. What Melody now says, and she's getting so many listings using it. Gina has gotten one, and she's got a potential one coming by using that same line at an open house. Are you in your forever home? No. Oh my gosh. This market we're in is an anomaly, and we'll never see anything like it again. Your house is worth more than it's ever been. If you're not in your forever home, you need to sell now and get into your forever home. Now, that conversation is so intriguing to most people that they, at the very least, if they run from you, they're running to go home and think about it. All right. Now, Gina, she has a really good job being my operations manager for the whole team. Doesn't keep her. I mean, I think she's on transaction number 5 or something, 6 in the last month. And her full-time job is to run the operations for our team, which is a big job. But she's talking to people. She picked up the phone and called somebody she knew that we sold a condo to a few years ago before she was licensed, but it was her friends, and used that line on them. The house is going on the market next week. So, yeah, so think about this, you guys. It's this line alone can help change that. But the conversation is simple in that there has to be more talking to people who own homes, because sometimes when you meet a family in their mid-30s that own a home, they're probably not quite financially ready to live in their forever home. But guess what Gina just bought for herself? She's 31. Her forever home. Now, after the kids are grown and gone, she may decide she doesn't want that home, but right now it's her forever home, and she's 32 or 31. You'll be 32, Gina, soon, right? In August. She's not talking to me because I'm talking about her age in public. So the idea is have conversations. Okay. Bernadette, that was very encouraging. Bernadette, that was encouraging that you went and got more paper to take more notes. At least that's the story I made up. So
Sorry. We had somebody working on the washing machine. I had to let him out.
no worries. I thought you were getting more paper. For more notes.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. So this is the great thing. Now, I want to call on somebody that doesn't know I'm going to call on her, but she's a very successful listing agent. And Teresa, would you mind having a chat with me for a minute?
Sure. Hi,
Okay.
everybody.
How are you?
Fine. How you doing?
Good.
Great call.
Thank you. Do you, anything that I've said, will you use, considering you are pretty much a listing agent more than anything?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I wrote it down. I'm going to call people and do the whole forever. Is this your forever home? I think that's great.
Yeah. So
I
the word,
have several people on the fence right now. Like they need to, they want to sell their house. They know it's a great market, but
Yeah.
they're like, we're staying in the area. Where are we going to buy? Right. So
Yeah.
there's that whole, that I could use a script for that, honestly, because I have got, a dozen people just kind of on simmer.
Yeah. Well, and that's the language that gives it what's the word we need when people on simmer? It's called urgency,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
So you want to take people off the simmer or off the fence. I joke around. Are you on the fence? Yeah. Isn't that painful?
That's
So,
great.
Yeah. So, but Teresa, tell us some things that you've been doing anyway, since if you have that many people on simmer, that's pretty good. That means you've had conversations where you've initiated the conversation
Yes.
about it's probably time to list.
Yeah, no, and we have had those conversations. They're not coming till summer. I think June is when everyone's going to do it. I've got some reloads,
Yeah.
certain things with timing. But we're just talking about, because they're saying, well, there's nothing out there for us to buy. Where are we going to go? So some of the conversations I've had with a couple people are like, okay, you need to have like an interim plan. Well, if it's hard to get a house right now, it might be. You may, it's tough. We can be aggressive. We can, go big or go home kind of thing, but it doesn't guarantee you're gonna get in right now.
Yeah. Borrow money from
Rent,
your
like
parents.
have the rent for a year,
Yeah.
take the pressure off. You can
Yeah.
afford to do it, kind of a thing.
Yep.
What do you suggest?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We talk to people about, do you have other resources that you can borrow from that you won't have to return for a while? Or, one of my clients wanted to buy, was so worried that I said, well, have you talked to anybody in the family that could maybe lend you some money? And that way you could buy first and then sell later.
Mhm.
And so he went to his brother. His brother lent him all the money he needed to buy a house cash.
Oh, that's great. Wow.
And then he paid him off when we sold his condo, but we didn't sell his condo until after he had moved in, gotten everything settled. Then we got the condo ready. And then we sold the condo. And of course, the condo had gone up. It went up, I think, about 25,000 in that time.
Mhm.
And he still to this date holds the record for that floor plan in that city for that condo sale.
Wow.
So he's got no regret that he sold early or, sold too late or whatever. So, but he paid his
Yeah.
brother back right out of escrow. So,
Sure. That's great.
so there's other things too. I believe there's companies now. There's a lot of resourceful people on here. I believe there's companies now that will help you with an answer for ways to allow your clients to buy a house and then come back and sell their house. So that they're not missing out. And I don't know the names of any of them. Bruce, you
That's-
got one?
Yeah,
Like a bridge
knock.com.
loan?
Yeah,
Knock.
knock.com is one.
Okay, would
Just
you
heard
put
about
that
it
in the-
yesterday, actually. Yeah,
Would you put that in
absolutely.
the chat, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay, who else said something? Did someone else say they had one?
No, I had said something else. It doesn't matter, but I'm curious. So talk to me about what these guys do. Is it
Well,
like
they-
a bridge loan kind of a thing or?
Yeah, it's I think it costs less than bridge loans, I think, but it's still, they get paid for helping out. So, but go to knock.com, investigate it.
Okay.
You guys can bring back the ideas.
Yeah, and
great.
if they're not in your area, I just typed in just now, not that I wasn't listening because it brought me into this
all right.
conversation. There's competitors because they're not in Nevada, they're everywhere surrounding Nevada, but they'll put a person who's trying to sell their home into another home and then with a loan or however, and then sell or buy the home they tried to move out of or
Yeah.
tried to sell. It's pretty amazing. So.
Okay, and Dennis from San Francisco put homelight.com, and I know Homelight, Dennis, that's the company that took over Disclosures.io? Dennis, can you come off mute? No?
Yeah, Disclosures.io is Homelight. They're together.
Right, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I didn't know they'd offered up a service like that. So that's the kind of thing, people were saying, and I don't know if there's any Compass agents on here, but people were saying, well, Compass has that concierge program. And well, now there's a lot of other companies that do that. There's one called Curbio that the company I'm with supports, meaning they say use Curbio and tell them you're a real estate agent from EXP. But I think Curbio is a company, period, meaning anybody could use them from any company, but they will go in, they have a program. And what I'd like, why don't we do that, guys? Why don't we figure out resources as a call here that you can send me and Gina that will advertise to everybody on other companies that do that? Because there are a lot. I've heard there's at least 5 big ones that help people renovate so that they can sell their house for more money and then they get paid after it. And it's a big win-win for everybody. So I'm sure some of you have contacts in that area or know of someone that you can send us. Okay.
There's revive.com
Okay.
and
Can you
they're willing to work with an individual agent.
Okay, cool. Would you put that in the chat, MC?
Sure. And I'm working with Curbio right now.
Uh-huh.
A tremendous overhaul. We're talking a hoarder.
Yeah.
And they are being so proactive and helpful.
Nice. This is really good to hear because,
Yeah.
people say all the time, well, I'm going with this agent because their company does this. And what I've told my sellers when I'm in listing presentations is please don't hire someone based on what resource they have. Everyone has access to the exact same resources. Everyone. Hire them based on their ability to get you the most amount of money in the least amount of time while it's an amazing and successful transaction at the same time. So, okay, let's see, homelightnock.com, and then Curbio. Who can put that in for me? Because I'm not really good at typing while I'm talking. It's like chewing gum and walking at the same time. So,
Mhm.
all right, good. And then there, what was the one MC said? Oh, Revive. Okay, good.
That,
Got it.
be careful on that. That took me to a landscaping website. So
Revive.com did?
if I
Or
spelled it
or
correctly.
Curbio?
Revive.
Hmm.
Let's see. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a landscaping website. So there's got to be like
Okay.
a .io or something like that.
Okay,
Something.
let's see. Revive.
Yeah, I must have spelled it
House.
wrong too, but then when I used the link or the address that was provided, it took me the same place, so.
Oh, I think it's called revivehomeremodel.com. Guys, did you hear that?
Got you. Yeah.
I'm trying it now, thank you.
Okay. let me
That would
see.
be it.
Oh, wait, she said, I love revive.com. Maybe that's the correct one. Maybe I've got something wrong.
Revive Home Remodel did pull up.
So does I love Revive.
Let's see.
Your local partner for affordable home upgrades and remodeling services. Says local though. So
Oh, yeah, this is the one, because when you go to I love Revive, you can see the name of the company is just Revive. So, yeah. And it's an official partner of CAR, California Association of Realtors. And I know not all of you are California. Yeah, this must be the one. So I love revive.com. Okay.
okay.
All right, good. Wow,
Sweet.
look how much we've done. All right, so now let's get back to the subject at hand, because I want to get you guys on the way to your weekend. Now, I don't know how many of you start your weekend at 10 o'clock Pacific. But
That would be on Thursday though. be
that's
honest with
right,
you.
yeah. Okay. I'm going to start my weekend today at 4 o'clock Pacific, which is very early for me, and I'm pretty excited about it. So, but what I want to think about here is this, that I was saying it on my team huddle this morning that, when we live in two houses, we rent one and we own one. But the one we rent, we kind of use it as an office more now, because we go there when we're getting ready to travel or we got work in the area. And when we're here at the house we own and we're walking the dog, I was generally, and between my wife and I, always the more social butterfly, walking, saying hi, talking to people. But since lately, it seems like my wife is the social butterfly, wanting to talk to everybody. I'm like, can we just walk the dog till he poops so we can go home, right? And then so she's been talking to more and more people, and I realize I'm not. And here's the thing that really strikes a chord with all of you have different behavioral styles, right? Some of you are more likely. Some of you are more likely to want to talk to people about buying and selling homes, or just about talking to them. So it would lead to a conversation where eventually they said to you, what do you do? Right? Okay, so that's one thing. Some of you are not more likely to, okay? And that's okay. So even if I am the one usually doing that, you can make a decision to act outside of what's comfortable behaviorally for you. And that's important. I've said that before, but now we're talking about it in the context of taking more listings and having more business in general. So the more you have those conversations about, about what it's gonna, what's going on in the market. I used to teach people, especially between 2007 and 2011, when people would say, how's the market? We'd say, unbelievable. And then they'd look at you and go, what? Like, it's what? And I go, well, the word unbelievable can mean unbelievably good, unbelievably bad, but I just like to say unbelievable, because right now for buyers, this is 2007 to 2011, it's an unbelievable market. They have tons of choices. The prices are down. They can get the deal of a lifetime right now. And they go, yeah, but just for them. I go, no. If sellers are thinking of moving up to a bigger home, there's no better time than now. And they say, well, what do you mean? I go, well, the bigger the home, the more the prices have dropped. So if I'm living in this small home and I want to move to a bigger home, even though my price has dropped, that's okay. I can still sell and buy my bigger dream home for less money than I'll ever be able to buy it. So there was always a way to find why the market was in favor of particular people. We all know there's deaths, divorces, transfers, probates, trusts, everything you can think of is always going on. I used to compare that to my dad. Well, he said, you know, my dad was a depression baby. He was born in the 20s, right? So he would say, people got to eat. He didn't say it like that, but I added my own little New York accent to that. But, and I said, what does that mean? And he said, well, people in the food business are always going to maintain because people always have to eat, right? Why was grocery stores the number one essential business that was allowed to stay open when they closed down the world, right? People got to eat. So it's the same. People are going to move. People are going to move. Sometimes they don't know. I love it when last year in 2021, we had sold someone a house and 6 months later, they called us and said, we got to sell. 6 months later. Good, more business for us. But that tells you, that's why I tell people, if you sell your clients, how many of you, I want you all to be honest, there's 27 of you on here. How many of you have recently sold a home in a new development? Okay, maybe.
Lots of them.
Yeah. Okay, good. So Bernadette, one of the best things you can do in a new home development is walk the neighborhood as soon as you help somebody new get in there, because there's always somebody who just moved in there who either found out they didn't like it, the move caused a divorce, somebody died, they're getting a job transfer, there's all kinds of things. I make friends with the salespeople in the area and go, you know what? I've got somebody that wants to buy in here, but they want the floor plan you're no longer selling. So if you hear of any of your friends that you sold the homes to, right? The other thing that I've done in the past is made friends with them and said, can I use your name when I'm talking to people? And they go, what do you mean? I go, well, if I use your name and I get business, I'll pay you a referral fee
Wow. Okay.
to the sales rep,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're locked in. They're going to get a set amount for every closing. Sometimes it's 1%, sometimes it's a certain dollar amount that's in their contract between them and the new home builder. Man, you will brighten up their life. And a lot of them, like I remember one said, you can't send me a referral fee here. I go, well, I'll figure out a way to send you something. Send me an invoice, right? We'd invoice, whatever, so that they feel like, they're getting value for what they helped you do. All right.
Sure. Motivated.
So, yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, but talking new home developments are great, because what are you? You're a resource. That's what you are. You're a resource. So when you pull up to a brand new home and they haven't finished doing their front yard, or you can tell they haven't finished doing their backyard, or the fences aren't whatever, or you can tell they still haven't put curtains up, right? Now, a lot of states, when you buy brand new, they do more than they do in California. California usually don't get a backyard, for instance. You're just going to get dirt and a patio. So there's a lot of things that you can do to create more business from there. So if nothing else today, what I wanted to do is open your mind to the possibility that there's a lot of things that you already know to do that you're not doing. Put one of them into effect in the month of April. There's a lot of things that we talked about today that some of you said, wow, that's a great idea. Take one of them and put it in effect in April. Okay? Because what you're capable of doing is handling 3 new ideas for 1 month. You're not going to be excellent at all 3 new ideas in 1 month. You're probably going to get really good at 1 new idea, but at least you'll have put the other 2 in motion, so that when you get really good at 1, right? Let's say Bernadette leaves the calls and goes back to one of the brand new homes she sells, and then thinks, oh, I sold another one there. And she goes and door knocks all those neighborhoods in April. Great. It's going to make a huge difference in her business. Something I said to Bruce, and oh my God, it just hit me that's your Bernadette, Bruce. How silly was that? I didn't hit me till just now. Are you guys in the same house on different ends of the house?
We're
Yeah,
sitting
she's-
next to each other.
She's right across from me.
Oh, I was going to say, Bruce, where's Bernadette? And then I go, oh shit, that is the Bernadette from Bruce right there. So, all right. So here's the thing. I said it in Vegas and I haven't said it here recently, but God and the universe align to give you rewards when what you say you're going to do matches with what you actually do. And it happens all of the time to my coaching clients. It happens all of the time to me. I can remember when I was completely broke and I went out door knocking. Okay. I go out door knocking and I got a listing lead, but I only got one. But later that day, my past client calls me and says, I'm going to need to list my house and buy another one. Right? Like that's the universe rewarding you for being in action when that's really what you're saying to yourself and the world you need to do. So when your words and your actions match, you get rewards, and the rewards don't always come from the effort you made. They come from somewhere else. So if Bernadette goes and knocks on 300 doors this month in new home developments, right? Whether she gets something or not, she's going to get rewarded with lots of business. Who knows that one of her old friends might call her and say, I need to buy a house, or you never know, but you've got to put it out there. All right. So I just want to allow a couple quick minutes for questions, comments, ahas, thoughts, or disagreements for you now.
I just have to say that I'm huge on what you put out in the universe is what you get back. So that really resonates with me. I need to start doing it more though.
Okay, good. So, and that is it. Here's the one thing I'm going to teach you all to help me with, and hopefully it'll help you with. Say no. Say no to you when you is saying things that you'll do that you don't do. Quit saying it. The universe doesn't want you lying to yourself, right? In other words, okay, look, I have a fetish. It's for donuts. Okay, let's be honest. So I know now too, at 64 years old, if I'm going to be somewhere where there's donuts, okay, I'll say way ahead of time, I'm going to have a donut today. Or I'm going to say way ahead of time, I'm not having a donut today, but whichever I pick now, I stick to. Because I had a moment to make the choice to be honest about it. Now, I'm still messing up a lot in the workout area. I'm going to get up and work out tomorrow morning and don't. Ugh. Still not good because the universe sees me lying again. So instead, I'll say, no, tomorrow, I know I'm going to be exhausted. I'm just not going to really worry about working out. I'll get a little extra sleep and we'll figure out the workout later on. But it's the same with lead generation. Be honest about it. And if you really want to do it, but don't want to say, I'm going to do 2 hours and then you do 15 minutes, then say, I'm going to do 15 minutes. And if you do more, then you're plussing it. And if you don't, you did what you said you do. Just do what you said you do when you said you do it. Okay. All right. So comments, questions besides Bernadette's, anyone else?
Thank you for that. I really appreciate that. I think sometimes we overextend ourselves mentally, and then we just don't do it. And then we are sabotaging ourselves.
That's the exact word, Lorena, is sabotage, self-sabotage, right? Look at this. This is more of a deeper personal development lesson. All human beings do something for a reward. Okay. You say, well, wait a minute. When I say I'm going to do something, I don't do it. What's the reward? The reward you get is proving to yourself that you actually suck.
We have to
Yeah.
Because that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that reward. I'm right about being horrible, or I'm right that I suck. You just want to be right. So change that paradigm. Build piles of evidence that you're amazing and not piles of evidence that you suck. That's all. And this is where we need to do it in the listings. Give away a couple of buyers and use the time that you would have been with those buyers to lead generate for listing. That's all. Don't just give away the buyer and go home and take a nap. Oh, I'm going to get 50% of that buyer. I'm just going to take a nap. No, take that time. I was going to be out with this buyer today for 3 hours. I'll use those 3 hours to sit here and lead generate for listings. Like what Teresa said. Teresa said she wrote a bunch of handwritten notes at the beginning of the week, right? Do that kind of stuff. Oh no, that was Sherry Mason said she wrote 30 notes, right? So yeah. Cheryl, did you have something? Okay. All right. Any other comments, thoughts, questions, ahas? Let me see what else we got in the chat. Okay. Good.
Would love to introduce a couple people that are on the call today, if that would work for you.
Yeah, introduce them to me or to everyone?
Yeah, to everyone. I mean, I feel
Yep.
like I'm really excited about Bryn. She's on the call. She's probably with her kids right now, but she is an amazing asset to be coming on. And I'm super excited for you guys to chat, Rick. She's going to blow you away. And
Okay.
Bernice is also on here, and she's joined and she's looking into, and I know that we kind of chatted about her being in the luxury market and us working
Okay.
on some materials for her. So I just wanted you to just be aware of them being on the call, and for you just to at some point we should definitely set up a call so you guys can all meet, because
Great.
they're gonna be really great assets. So I'm excited.
Great. Well, thank you guys all, and Crystal certainly for introducing people. And I want you all to remember that there's people that like Dennis is a friend of mine from San Francisco. There's a guy named Andy Weir from Southern California. They get on once in a while, they don't, but these are, in the meantime, I don't worry about who's on and who's not, because you might listen to the recording, you might do something else. All I worry about is that you're succeeding, and that if you need help succeeding, you come to these calls and we find ideas on how we can all succeed. So thank you all for being here, and have a wonderful weekend, all of you. Okay,
As well. That was
You're
wonderful.
awesome. Thank you.
bye, everybody.
Wonderful.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rick.
Take care.
Thank you so much, Rick.
All right, bye-bye, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye. Call Jane.